Dan Terry, and welcome to my next episode of the podcast, Beyond the Shadows. And this time we're in New Madrid, Missouri, on the Mississippi River. Folks, the history in this town is incredible. Let me just give you some ideas of it. In 1811 into 1812, four of the biggest earthquakes that ever hit the Midwest happened right here. This was the epicenter. This earthquake was so strong it rang the church bells in Boston. That is 1,100 miles away. They could feel this. People at the time recorded a wall of water 12 feet high. We're talking some perfect storm kind of stuff here, coming upstream. The earthquake was so strong it made this river run backwards, and it formed a lake farther up the way. After that, in the Civil War, there was a battle here. It was called the Battle of Island Number 10, which was actually behind where I'm at now. That island and that battle was 6 weeks long. So we're talking some major carnage. We're talking some major ghost stuff going on here. And folks who've read my books, you know how I feel about river towns. It might be the limestone. It might be the power and the energy of the moving water. Or maybe this is where history started. Sicknesses came up the river on ships. Indian attacks. This area is teeming with ghosts. Let's talk to somebody who knows more about it. And we are in the Dixie Theater in New Madrid, which is incredibly crazy haunted. And with me is Christine McWaters, and she is the director of the Chamber of Commerce here. She also is the creator of the ghost tour for this town. And she's got some stories, so I'm just going to let her tell the stories.
Well, you know, we are fortunate enough to have several locations that we get to take our guests to here in town. This is one of the most active locations by far. It's also one of the favorite locations that our guests come to. We have to literally turn the lights on and push them out the doors to get them to leave because they don't want to leave. You know, they love it. We've had some crazy stuff happen here. You know, I had told you before about the story about the...
Yeah, you got to tell these folks this story. It's awesome.
We had a couple of... it was a small group of men and their lady friends, their girlfriends, and the guys were being all tough and, you know, trying to act like they weren't scared. And we'd done all of the rest of the tour, and we finally got to the Dixie, and I took two of the gentlemen backstage here with me, and everybody else was sitting in the seats, and we hadn't had anything happen the entire night. Not a light, not a sound, nothing. And the one fellow took the K2 meter and held it up, and he said, if there's anything back here, light this up now. Pegged out. And he took off running, pushed me out of the way. There's a ladder hanging up back here. He ran into the ladder, jumped off of the stage, and headed out the door. And one of them has never come back.
And the other one did.
One guy, he was brave enough to come back, but he refused to go back into that area. He stayed out here.
A little more respectful to the ghosts.
He was, yes.
Okay, so this place has got quite a history. You told me a little bit about it. Who's haunting it?
You know, that's still one of those things that we're trying to find. You know, we get different hits. We'll ask different questions, and, you know, we've talked about Cap, who loved this theater. He was here all the time. Sometimes we'll get some response to that.
And who was he?
Cap Richards. He was a gentleman, a mentally challenged gentleman, and he had a routine. Did you just bump that chair?
Not that I'm aware of. Sorry, Cap. Sorry, Cap. Okay, go ahead.
He did have a favorite seat right up here in the front row, and we've not figured out which seat it is, so perhaps
I wonder if it's this one.
You were in Cap's way.
I swear I don't think I touched it. I didn't feel it if I did. So, well, Cap, I'm sorry. I'll step a little ways away. Okay.
Yes, there you go. So you never know what's going to happen in the Dixie.
Go ahead.
But Cap, he would make his rounds through town, and he would stop in at all the businesses, and he'd talk about the weather, and he'd do this, that, and the other. And he would, before he would leave, he would always say, I'm a damn good man, right? A damn good man. So on his headstone, it actually says Cap Richards, a damn good man.
Really?
So
that was cool.
We've tried to figure out Cap's seat, which now I'm going to remember the seat dead center here right as this.
That does make the most sense.
So we could remember and test it out during the tours this year. But we also, the last couple of years, we've been getting a hit from a Civil War soldier
Okay.
which would not necessarily have ties to this building, but perhaps where this location is.
We've talked just a very brief touching on the battle for Island 10. What can you tell us about that?
Well, you know, it wasn't a very bloody battle, but it was a very significant battle. It was where the Union actually got control of the Mississippi River in this part of the river. So it was very significant, but it happened around the same time as Shiloh. So we kind of get overshadowed, even though it was a fairly significant battle. We had Fort Thompson in the area, Fort Celeste, and Fort Bankhead. Fort Bankhead was sort of in this area here. I had one of our local Civil War buffs on our tour because he knew a lot more than I did. There's only so many questions I can ask, you know, where were you from, and things like that. But he came in and asked more specific questions. And he kind of walked away thinking, you know, maybe there is something to this. And
Union soldier, Confederate?
he was Confederate.
Okay.
We were doing a K2 session, and we would ask, we started off with, are you male or female? Got a male. We asked what your name was, and we went through the alphabet.
Okay.
It stopped on J. It lit up on J. We started naming names. Jimmy, James. It lit up on John.
Okay. Very common name, probably the most common name.
We asked if he was from Missouri. No. Asked if he was from Arkansas. No. And asked if he was from Tennessee, and he said yes.
And how far is Tennessee from here?
Not very far.
Yeah,
Not very
Memphis
far.
is what, 30, 40 miles down?
And that's about the area where he was from. And in doing research, my Civil War guy found out that there was a troop that was here in New Madrid from that area. So
It falls together.
it could very well be.
Okay.
You never know. But he's very friendly. He likes ladies.
Don't we all?
We get a lot of response when our females ask him questions. We had one lady who came 3 weekends in a row when we first learned about John, because she thought that he had a crush on her. So she came back and kept asking these questions, and she's like, I gotta go see my boyfriend John at the Dixie. So
Well, that's cool.
it is, and it's fun.
Was these during your tours?
Yes.
And you typically run about 3 tours through the Halloween period.
We typically run 3 weekends. We do
Okay.
Friday nights and Saturday nights, and we usually do 2 tours a night. We do a 7 o'clock tour and a 9 o'clock tour. This year we're doing our first ever Halloween weekend.
Oh, that's got to
So
be cool.
I'm excited.
Uh-huh.
I'm very excited. I think that one will sell out really quickly because we do reserve or limit to 20 people. Not that this area we could get quite a few people, but when we go to the Hart-Stepp House, it's a really small house.
Okay.
So we keep it down for that.
So this lady come back 3 times in 3 weekends
Yes.
just to talk to one spirit.
Yes. And she brought back somebody with her every time because it was like,
Well,
you've
that's
got to
cool.
come and see this. You've got to come and see
So you got a bunch of believers out of it then.
We do. You know, we have a lot of people that'll come on and either be skeptics or kind of on the fence, but they'll walk away a believer.
This is the kind of tour we need.
That's
This is awesome. Now I know there's like 3 or 4 other stops on the tour. What else have we got to talk about?
We have the Hart-Stepp House.
Okay.
That's another one of my favorite locations because of the spirits that we have there. Now, we do have a lot of documented deaths that have occurred in that house. I mean, this
By
is
a lot. How many are we talking about?
Well, I know the house was built around 1840, 1850.
Okay.
It's escaping me right now.
Prior to Civil War then.
Yes. By Abraham Augustine. He built it for his family. It was originally a 2-room house.
Okay.
I know that several of the Augustine children did pass away in that house. And where our golf course is now, that was actually the Augustine family cemetery. Robert Ann Augustine, her headstone is actually still on the golf course.
And you've had some activity around that stone, I believe.
Well, we went out there one year. We didn't do a whole lot of investigating because people don't like you to be out in the middle of the golf course in the middle of the night. But yeah, someone said it had given off a strange kind of glow when they shine their light on it or something.
Okay.
I don't know. We don't believe that the bodies are still there. I just don't know why the headstone would still be there.
Yeah. And if I remember right, you said it was like up against a tree or something.
Leaning against a tree.
And what about the kids? Who was you contacting from that house?
At first, we were trying to talk to Robert Ann because I knew she had died in that house because we had seen her death records.
And how did she pass?
It just said a stomach ailment,
Okay.
which back then they didn't have.
Appendicitis, it could have been anything, sure.
But later on, we started getting, it was different because we started trying to communicate with Ruby, because I learned about Ruby.
And Ruby?
Ruby Hampton was 14 years old, and she was living in the house with her grandparents, Josephine and John Hart. I'm still trying to find the prior story to find exactly what happened, but I knew that she had fallen into a fire in the backyard. She was burned badly. At first they thought she would survive, but she passed away 2 weeks later. And she died in that house.
And how old was she again?
14.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's tragic. So have you made contact with her?
Yes, we think that she's one of the most active spirits.
Okay.
She loves to play with dowsing rods.
Really? Okay, that's one of my favorite ghost hunting tools. I love dowsing rods.
And our groups love them because it's very interactive.
Oh, yeah.
You're holding it and you can feel the charge and you feel the pull. And it just freaks people out.
It does. I love it. So she likes the dowsing rods.
She does. What we've had happen, and we've had this happen on more than one occasion, is you can play kind of hide and seek with her, but you're going to think sounds nuts, but I can back this up. I have people that can back this up. She kind of likes me, I guess, because I'm there all the time.
Right.
So I can go into a different room in that house. There's not very many, but I can go into a different room, and the person can stand there with the dowsing rods, and they'll say, "Ruby, where did Christina go?" And the rods will point to the direction of the room that I'm in. I got chill bumps. Look at that. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's really crazy, but yeah, she's a fun, active spirit. And her grandmother's also there, Josephine.
Is she there watching over her then?
That's what we think.
Well, that's cool. So the little girl died in a very tragic fire, but has maintained her childlike behavior. That's sweet.
The first time that we ever really contacted her, we had a young girl on the tour. Her name was Skylar. I don't usually allow kids on the tour because it can be scary. I mean, I've traumatized adults.
Apparently.
It can be quite scary, and you're in the dark, and I don't want to be responsible for kids having nightmares. But the mother said she watches the shows on television, so I said, well, if you think she can handle it, it's okay. And she was standing there. We were kind of in a circle, and I had a K2 in the floor, and we don't get a whole lot of K2 hits from there.
Okay.
But she kind of stepped forward, and she said, "Ruby, would you like to play?" I'll tell you, there's nothing creepier than a kid in the dark trying to get another kid that's in spirit form to come out and play. And when she said that, it pegged out. And it scared me because it had never happened before.
Right.
So that was kind of the first interaction that we had with Ruby. And so we found that when we have younger girls on the tour, that she comes out a lot more often than I guess she feels comfortable there.
Yeah. Well, she's a child, wants to play. That is outstanding. Then the courthouse, county courthouse,
we do the courthouse, yes. There we tell a couple of different stories. We talk about the last official hanging that took place in New Madrid in 1935. It was a double hanging. It was Roy Hampton and Eddie Gaiman.
Okay.
Hamilton and Eddie Gaiman. I get the Hampton and the Hamilton because I've got Ruby and I've got... Okay. But anyway, that was 1935. It was a double hanging. They shot and killed Arthur Cashin in a robbery.
Here in town?
Just on the outskirts of town.
Okay.
Yep. So we tell that story.
House
There was a major accident on the river.
Okay, boat?
A barge actually tipped. This was when they were working on the levee system that we have here in town. So there were a lot of the Corps guys that were on this. And for some reason, they all went to one side of the barge.
Okay.
Which caused the barge to tip, and a lot of men died. I mean, this was in like January, so the water was ice cold, and
hypothermia and everything else. Sure.
So there were too many bodies to house just in the funeral home here in town. So they used the courthouse to house some of those bodies there. So, we have that really awesome EVP that we got from the courthouse.
And tell me about it before I throw it up.
It says, "Get help, run." So we've always tried to figure out why there would be an EVP that says "Get help, run." So I don't know if it's connected with that. Just telling people, get help, run to the river to get these people, or I don't know. Yeah.
Anything else from there?
We have people that feel touched there quite a bit.
Okay.
Usually it's ladies We don't know if that's Roy and Eddie. So, but
have you made contact with the men who were hanged?
Well, we kind of use a trigger object when we go down there.
Okay, sure.
You know.
And tell me what it is.
We take a noose.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of freaks out the people when we're standing in the dark and all of a sudden they shine a light on me and I'm holding a noose in the courthouse. But they don't like the noose.
I wouldn't either if I was hung by it.
Yeah, they don't like it. We get a lot of activity and tell them, like, if you want us to put the noose away, light the box up.
And the box will...
And we're respectful, and we put it away when they ask us to put it away. But
okay. What else do you have on the tour? Anything else we need to hit on for folks to know?
Well, we may be adding a new location this year. I don't know much about the location yet, but it's something new. So this will be kind of an exploratory year for us in that location. You know, we have a lot of fun with it. We're not really stuffy, and we like people to interact with the spirits.
Well, good, yeah.
You know, because they're here for a reason. They're here to see if they can experience something, and we want them to try to experience something. So, you know, it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like it. When is the tours this year?
It will be the 17th, the 23rd, the 24th, and the 30th, and the 31st. Those Fridays and Saturdays in October.
And the cost?
It's $15 a person. We do limit, like I said, our tours to 20 people. So
that's outstanding.
You need to make reservations early because Halloween weekend is going to sell out really quick.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee. But
when do the tickets actually go on sale?
They can contact me at any time and make their reservations.
All right. So we've got the tour. Any chance it's going to be a bus tour? You said you're trying.
We're trying to get it to where we have a transit to take us around, which will cut down on our walk time and will give us more time to have the groups in the actual locations to do the investigations.
So if you need to do the bus, call quick. Keep tabs on that. Make sure we know.
And we encourage people to bring their own equipment. You know, if they want to. I know a lot of times people don't like you to record their stories.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. If you want to bring a camera, bring a camera. If you want to bring video equipment, that's fine. If you've got K2s or, you know, we have a PX that we use that people love.
Okay, you'll have to help me. What's a PX? I'm not familiar with that term.
PX is like an Ovilus type.
Okay.
So they are actually hearing.
A spirit box, a voice box? Okay. Oh, that sounds cool.
Oh, they love that.
So this is different from a lot of tours. This is fun. This is one where people can get in here and get hands-on with it.
Very hands-on. We try to encourage that. We have some people that don't want hands-on because they just want to sit and see if something happens. You know, we'll say, you know, if somebody's here, can you touch somebody? And then you always hear somebody in the corner going, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. But then you have people that are like, yeah, come on, touch me. So.
Okay, you were telling me about the guy who ran out of here and jumped off the stage. You said this is the location?
They were kind of in this general area. It was just me and the two guys. I was kind of standing over here, and the one guy was standing here, and he had the K2 meter holding it up, and he said, if there's anybody back here, light this thing up, because he just does not believe in any of this stuff. And it pegged to red. And he ran, he pushed me out of the way, he ran into the ladder that's hanging there on the wall. He jumped off the stage and headed out the front door. And one of them hasn't been back since.
So both of them ran out that way.
They did, both of them. And then they asked us if we had done anything to make it light up. I said, no, you just take somebody off. So, it's pretty funny.
Well, that's something I won't do intentionally, so.
No, you know, we try to be very respectful. All of our spirits are very nice spirits. They're very pleasant. We've never had anything negative happen, never had anybody, you know, get hurt or scratched. I did have one gentleman who was on a tour here in the Dixie, and he was upstairs in the balcony area, and he got a little nick on his ankle, but I told him that ghosts don't bite ankles. I think he just bumped his leg.
Okay.
So, but he swears that a ghost bit him on the leg.
Bit him?
Bit him on the leg, yes.
With one small...
Yeah, one little bite there. It wasn't even a bite. It was just like a hole. So
Cap's only tooth, I guess.
You never know.
Got to come down here and try this. You got to have some fun with this. Come down and visit Cap. Visit the men who were hanged in the court. What was their names?
Roy and Eddie.
Roy and Eddie, and Ruby.
And Ruby.
Got to come visit Ruby. How do people get hold of you to get on this tour?
We have a Facebook page. It's New Madrid Ghost Tours. Like us. You can also email me, chambernm@yahoo.com, or give me a call, 877-748-5300.
Okay, and that you do have a website.
We do have a website, yes.
And your website actually has some of the EVPs on it
does.
and things, so you're ready. What's that?
It's wix.com/New Madrid/Haunted Tour.
There you go. Or just type in New Madrid Haunted Tours. I'm sure you're going to find
Google
it.
us.
Christine, you've been great.
Thank
you very much. Okay, this is New Madrid. You've seen they've got Civil War battles. They've got earthquakes. They've got little girls who died horribly, but yet their spirits still want to play. And on top of everything else, you've got a ghost tour guide who's not only knows her stuff, but she is a blast. And you can tell, I just had to stand back and let her tell her stories. So come on down to the New Madrid Ghost Tour and look beyond the shadows.